explain with my experience. It's just a matter for me to try to share with you what's really happening in the industry. Probably they are doing better. I mean, in terms of the technologies, they are doing better. But then more or less the foundation is almost similar. All right. So now let's begin. Okay. So we have the raw materials, and if you can recall, in our first chapter, I did add some new information relating to your when the QA QC, we need to deal with other departments, and we have the purchasing department. Okay, and it is the responsibility of the purchasing department in order for them to purchase the material. Okay, purchase material not only inclusive for the raw material to produce the product, it inclusive with the machineries, with the machines, those office materials that need to be used, for example, the desk, the photocopy machine, the printer, even your stationaries. If you are having a good opportunity, you will go to the industry whereby they will provide you every single thing, including with your uniform. Okay, so you just go to your workplace to solve the problem. That's all. The rest is all being covered by the industry, inclusive with the meals. But that one later I will share. All right. So now for the raw material, okay, kenapa I mentioned about the purchasing department? Because if you remember, purchasing department, they are going to deal with the supplier. They are the department that is going to directly deal with the supplier, not QA, QC, not production, not R&D, and other departments. So whenever we have an issue relating to the raw materials, so basically QA, QC or production, kita ni orang dekat bahagian belakang, okay, belakang tabir. Orang yang ke depan will be the purchasing. They are the one that is going to highlight the issue to the supplier. Okay, kita QA QC, if let's say we have some problem with the raw material, we will highlight to the purchasing. Purchasing will highlight to the supplier. That is the proper channel for us to communicate. Okay, it must be a two-way communication, and the way to communicate, it must be in place. Okay, kita ada prosedur dia. Tak boleh terus macam QA QC, contohnya you nak rasa macam you hebat, you terus nak pergi call direct dengan supplier. Basically tak boleh, sebab you are already overcome the other departments punya function. Alright, so now for approving for alternate raw materials, so whenever we are going to approve alternate raw materials, there will be two questions: whether the ingredient meet the existing or needed specification. The second one, does the new ingredient provide the same or desired finished product? Okay, I have mentioned before in chapter 1, when we talk about supplier, for one raw material, basically we will have 2 or 3 suppliers. Okay, the best will be 3 suppliers. However, in some cases, when we produce product, we will stick to only one supplier, because only this one supplier can provide us the finished product quality that we want. Okay, but that one, as much as possible, we try to avoid that particular condition. Okay, so alternate raw material ni macam mana? Contoh lah if let's say you are producing bread, your company is producing bread products, and then dalam bread products you ada resin, contoh, and your resin is being imported from Australia. Of course ada supplier daripada Malaysia lah. The origin of the resin is from Australia, is from the Sunmade, contoh the brand is Sunmade. So the brand of the resin is Sunmade, and we have the specification that we have already ruled out between the supplier and our company. Okay, but then of course we do not want to rely to only one supplier. So probably we want to have another supplier that can cater for this particular resin. Okay, so you might want to have another supplier B. Probably they are another company, the origin of the resin is still from Australia, contoh but then they are from different company. Okay, and then you have another distributor from Malaysia. Okay, dekat dalam Malaysia ni, basically supplier, most of the supplier, when we talk about supplier, basically they are distributor. Okay, if you go to food industry later, this one just for your general information lah. Basically most of the ingredients that are being using, contohnya macam bread products ke, you have this potato chips ke, for example, most of the ingredients are being imported from overseas. Okay, jadi that's why sometimes we can see there's a price increment for the food products because of the currency conversion factor. Okay, so bila kita ada untuk yang contoh resin tadi so the first one we have this sun-made resin, and then the other one maybe you want to have a B brand of resin as well. Okay, so you only have 2 suppliers, but then yang untuk sun-made ni we must make we already known and we already it is already proven that this particular resin, it gives a good product, a good taste towards our product. It is compatible with our production processes. So in order for us to have the second or third supplier, we must make sure that the other suppliers material, okay, resin daripada company B, company C ni juga, they are able to give the same sensory values for the finished product, as well as they are compatible with our finished product as well. Okay, compatible tu macam mana? Contoh lah if let's say supplier sun-made tadi, okay, resin daripada sun-made tu, the size of the resin is just nice. It is the resin will not going to be punctured or destroyed during the production of the product, contoh. Tapi when you go for supply resin from company B ataupun company C, company B mungkin the size of the resin is a bit bigger. Okay, slightly bigger compared to sun-made punya resin. So bila besar, there's a problem in terms of processing. Okay, and then yang company C, supplier C, the resin size is probably a bit smaller than the sun-made. So kalau smaller maksudnya you need to use more resins in order to provide the same volume, the same weight. So those are the consideration that you need to make in order for you to go for several suppliers. Okay. Okay, sorry lah, I kena approve your friends that are joining the class. Okay, so nampak the ingredient meet the existing or needed specification, yes ataupun no. So in terms, it's not only in terms of the size, it must be in terms of the sensory, in terms of the compatibility, the color, the taste, and etc. Alright, so the desired finished product, this one, okay, this one siapa yang akan jawab yes atau no ni, this one will be fall to the responsibility of R&D, QA, QC as well as production. Okay, R&D, remember they are the owner of the formulation. QA, QC, kita yang akan control the quality of the product. Okay, contohnya if let's say the resin tadi banyak yang punctured ataupun yang destroyed during production, of course it will cause mess and the conveyor belt become dirty because of those resin yang rosak tu. Production because they produce the product. So basically those will be the 3 departments that will involve in terms of having the alternate supplier for the raw materials. Okay, so alternate raw materials should be listed for emergency purposes, and of course bila kita cakap emergency purposes, bukannya bila dah emergency baru kita nak cari raw material tu, baru kita nak test run. No, basically kita akan guna alternate supplier ni, the alternate supplier ni kita akan ambil they all punya sample and we will run in the production. Kita akan buat test run. Namanya test run. If you go to industry later, dalam production floor, kita panggil sama ada trial run ataupun test run. Different test run ataupun trial run. Trial run ni probably untuk produk yang baru kita nak buat, yang belum ada dekat market, and that is the new product contoh Trial run ni for example produk test run ni produk yang dah existing, kita nak buat testing in terms of certain part kita nak improve the quality in terms of the temperature ke, in terms of the use of different different supplier of the same raw material. Okay, so apa yang kita akan buat bila kita ada supplier B, supplier C, so kita akan ambil they all punya sample and kita akan run dekat production floor. Kita tak run dekat R&D sebab R&D the size of the equipment is pilot scale. Maksudnya sama yang macam you all ada dekat lab, processing lab you all dekat Kuala Pilah. Tapi dekat production is the actual machineries that we are using to run the production. Okay, so kita akan test sampai we get the final quality that we want. Okay, so during test run, during trial run, it is a very common for us when we have alternate supplier for the same raw material, we will not able to achieve 100% similar quality with the existing supplier, existing raw material supplier. Okay, so mesti akan ada hiccup, mesti akan ada in terms of changes in terms of the quality. Jadi normally lah when we did test run ataupun trial run biasanya untuk produk yang belum market kita takkan market keluar lah, tapi untuk test run contoh lah test run untuk supplier resin yang company B dengan C tadi, if let's say kita dah jalan produk, katalah satu batch tu produce around 3,000 of products contoh 3,000 tu sikit je, so dah jalan. Okay, dah sampai dekat bahagian cooling process lah contoh sebelum packaging. Dan bila produk tu keluar, kita tengok it is not up to the specification that we used to have. Okay, dengan yang existing raw material. Tak sama. So apa kita buat? We will reject the product, kita akan buang semua. So if let's say 3,000 tu semua kita akan buang, kita tak akan market that particular product because we do not want to have our customer and consumer to have a different quality of product. We want to have a standardization of quality for finished product. Jadi that's why kena buat test run, kena buat trial run. Kena buat test run dengan trial run tu sampai kita dapat finish product quality yang kita nak. Okay, selagi tak dapat, selagi tu kita akan test, tak jadi kita akan buang, and that is very common. So kalau katakanlah lepas ni you all join food industry lah lepas ni jangan terkejut lah kalau katalah dia all tengah buat test run, produk yang keluar tu 10,000 tu semua kita buang masuk dalam plastik hitam. So jangan terkejut lah and jangan rasa macam membazirnya kalau bagi dekat orang miskin ke, orang sekarang ada yang macam COVID-19 ke kat Pakistan ke apa pun dia, no, tak, kita tak nak. Even if let's say the company nak sedekah pun dekat orang luar, they will make sure that they will give you the high quality product. Okay, bukan produk yang kita reject ni. Reject tu siapa yang makan? Staff dalam company itulah yang makan sendiri. Okay. The emergency raw material should be the one that has been tested and best approaches for all specification. Okay, so this one I have mentioned just now. Alright, so there are 3 level of raw material acceptance levels. Kejap ada kawan you macam nak masuk dalam ni. Alright, ada 3 level. The first one is good, meaning that we can accept the raw material. Maksudnya bila kita dah dapat sampel, kita dah test run dekat production, the end product, the finished product is acceptable. So kita boleh accept the raw material. The second level whereby we need to take action. Okay. We need to take action. Action is whereby it used as a reference point to identify potential problem. Okay, contohnya if let's say the raw material always reaches to action level, then kita kena highlight kepada supplier. Contoh, macam saya kata tadi, company untuk resin yang company B tu, the size is bigger compared to our existing supplier contoh. So kalau size dia banyak, resin tu size yang lagi besar, so what we need to do is we need to highlight to the supplier, cakap kita tak nak size besar, kita nak size macam ni. So you can see that when you go to food industry, there's a lot of things yang you rasa macam very minor, tapi actually it is important for us to take care of those minor things in order to produce a consistent good quality of finished product. Okay, and then reject whereby the point of refusing to accept the ingredient, probably it cannot give us the finished product, the end quality product yang kita nak, ataupun it has adverse effect towards our product, as well as it is not compatible with our machineries, with the equipment and etc. Okay, sekejap. And then we have this approved supplier list. Okay, approved supplier list, this one is the list of the supplier yang kita dah confident they all punya raw material we can use in order to produce our product. Okay, kenapa saya cakap you just imagine that you own the company ataupun you work in that particular company, you akan rasa sense of belonging towards that particular product. Okay, so every raw material, okay, dalam satu produk, it is very common kalau you go to the industry, dalam satu produk, you will have at least 20 ingredients for one product. Okay, so 20 ingredients tu maksudnya 20 raw material lah. So for each raw material ni, this particular document, the approved supplier list should be available. Okay, who are responsible for purchasing as well as quality control department. Kenapa? Sebab if let's say there is any issue relating to the raw material, kita tahu kita nak highlight raw material ni to which company, which supplier. Okay, QA QC. Contoh kalau when we talk about flour lah, contoh tepung. Tepung dekat Malaysia kita ada Malayan Federal Mill, FFM Federal Flour Miller, kita ada Kuantan Flour Miller, KFM, something macam tu lah. So kita ada flour miller, different flour miller. So katakanlah tepung pun kita ada 3 supplier. So tepung daripada supplier mana yang bermasalah? So kita kena tahu which supplier yang kita nak highlight. Okay, so that purchasing they all boleh highlight to the correct supplier. Okay, kita tak boleh macam contoh kita agak-agak aje tepung ni daripada company KFM tapi sebenarnya FFM yang ada problem. So tak boleh macam tu nanti is not good in terms of reputation and communication between company as well as the supplier. Okay, so just now I have mentioned we have 3 suppliers for every ingredient, but not all ingredient we are able to get 3 suppliers. Okay, this one later nanti bila you pergi industri, janganlah you pergi paksa pula R&D, you kata mesti kena ada 3 supplier. Normally R&D they will do testing. Bukan dia all tak buat. From time to time, every single day, R&D they will perform their testing. Okay, they will try to look for alternatives ingredient just in case to prepare for the emergency lah. Okay, but sometimes it is impossible to get more than 2 supplier for one particular raw material. Sebab when R&D do testing, kita dah run dekat dalam production pun, alternative raw material will not give the same end quality yang kita nak. So nak tak nak memang terpaksa we just need to rely with this one supplier, and we need to pray hard that this supplier will not give us any issue. Okay, a supplier is a raw material manufacturer. Okay, supplier tu siapa? Okay, supplier ni it can be several entities. Okay, contoh macam saya bagi tahu dekat kamu, contoh customer, consumer, they can be different person or they can be the same person. Okay, for supplier ni, they can be the manufacturer of raw material. Contohnya supplier macam company tepung. Contoh FFM, contoh Federal Flour Mill. Okay, Federal Flour Mill, they are the miller of the flour and they are also supplying the flour to the company, to the food industry. So they are the manufacturer, they are the supplier. Or supplier, they can be the distributor ataupun broker. Distributor ni selalunya they are responsible to import the raw material from other countries, contohnya from Thailand ke, from Australia ke, from US ke. and then they import, they bring it into Malaysia, then they will do some repacking ataupun they will do some quality checking as well as stamping of the name for that particular product. Then after that they will supply to the food industry that request for that particular ingredient. Okay, so kita kena tahulah supplier untuk raw material yang kita guna ni sama ada dia are the manufacturer ataupun they are the distributor. Okay, when we talk about if the supplier is the manufacturer, then it will be easier for us to tackle any problem relating to raw material. Tapi kalau if let's say the supplier is the distributor, then we will expect more time required in order for the corrective action to be taken and etc. Because this particular distributor, they need to liaise with the overseas company, and then overseas company they will give their feedback to the supplier will give feedback to our company. So dia macam tu lah Kalau macam manufacturer, they are the manufacturer, they are supplier, senang, it's a one way. Maksudnya bukan one way. Dia directly kita boleh terus contact this particular supplier, tapi kalau distributor dia ada channel dia macam tu. Okay, so approve all sources of supply only after careful evaluation and review of their performance in the product. This one pun I explain dah tadi. Kita macam mana kita nak review the performance, bukannya kita tengok produk tu, no. We need to run that particular raw material dekat dalam production floor. Okay, approved supplier list should contain the following information. Okay, yang ni mungkin penting untuk you all. Tapi I tak tahu, sorry. I tak tahu soalan yang akan keluar untuk your test ataupun your final test. I am not sure. Okay, so this particular supplier list, the information should contain in terms of course, the supplier and contact information. Sebab when we have issue with the supplier, purchasing they need to know who to contact, what is their contact number. Okay. Kadang-kadang contoh macam distributor kan, if let's say dia ada distributor, kadang-kadang dia all akan ada tukar tukar orang untuk deal dengan company. So yang from time to time kita kena update lah, kita kena deal dengan siapa. It is very common for the industry to have changeover of people for the same position. Biasalah, yang tu biasa. Okay, and then supplier scope, what is their scope in terms of whether they are the supplier ataupun they are the distributor. Okay, what will be the ingredients, the raw materials that we are requesting from the supplier. Okay, and then their contact information as well. Qualification status, contohnya qualification status, contoh if let's say kita request meat product daripada supplier, and this particular supplier is the distributor, and he or she, their company gets the meat product from Australia, and your company is producing contoh lah macam sausage product, and you want to have this halal certification. Okay, so kalau kita contoh kita nak halal certification, so kita kena make sure company yang dekat Australia tu pun ada halal certification. Tapi, okay, this one bear in your mind, when we talk about halal certification for overseas country, it is not meant halal certification from JAKIM. Okay, halal certification from JAKIM is meant for Malaysia. Tapi, the halal requirement from JAKIM is being referred by majority of the country in the world. Maksudnya setiap item untuk achieve halal bagi satu produk, negara-negara luar yang lain, contoh macam Jepun, US, New Zealand, Australia, Jerman, semualah European countries, US, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, semua majority basically they all akan refer balik kepada kriteria daripada JAKIM. Sebab halal daripada JAKIM ni consider as one of the powerful halal certificate dekat dalam dunia lah, contoh bukan contoh, it is true, tapi those countries they are referring back to Malaysia in order for the halal certification. Jadi untuk company daripada overseas country, when they want to have their certification of halal, bukannya halal tu daripada JAKIM tau. Halal tu each country they have their own organisation for halal. And this particular organisation must be approved by JAKIM. Kalau kita nak buat produk tu dekat Malaysia lah. Kalau dia nak buat produk dia dekat Australia, itu terpulang pada dia lah. Tapi untuk Malaysia, that authority must be, JAKIM must endorse that organisation. Okay, maksudnya kita boleh guna pakai sistem organisation dekat Australia untuk certified halal. Jadi kalau you all, contoh you all beli cheese product ke, you all beli meat product ke, you will see that different halal logo, but it is originated from their own country. Okay, the country of origin. Contoh if let's say we have Thailand, so Thailand they have their own halal certification and halal qualification. Australia pun ada, Japan ada, Korea ada, Jerman pun ada, and etc. Okay, so itu contoh qualification contoh kalau kita nak halal. And of course, when you talk about halal, every single raw material mesti kena ada halal certification. If you nak certificate halal, okay, JAKIM they will look for every single raw material. Kalau katalah satu pun tak ada halal, satu raw material tak ada halal, contoh macam resin tadi, kita cakap apa yang akan menyebabkan resin tu tak halal? Resin kan? Halal je lah. Tapi katalah resin tu tak ada halal status, then your product cannot get the halal certification. Okay, that one is your information lah. And then qualification date when this particular product is being approved for halal. So if let's say there's some issue, contoh macam saya pernah highlight dekat you all, we have certain issues, the meat products contain traces of horse meat. So kena re-evaluate their processing. Okay, masa tu memang kita akan ada isu lah, contoh halal, in terms of halal certification tu akan ada isu in their country of origin. Then maybe they need to apply for requalification. Okay, so this one is an example of the form that is being used. Contoh kita ada supplier contact info, and then the scope of the supplier, the requesting entity as well as the contact information, qualification status, the date, the requalification due date as well as requalification completion date. Alright, kejap Okay, now we move on to process control. Okay, so majority I will share to you my experience when I was in the industry, when my previous industry we are processing product that is ready to be consumed by the consumer. Okay, I'm not talking about macam those plant punya factory yang bersihkan sayur ke apa ke. That one is I don't really have much experience, but I do have some. Okay, so now we move on to process control. Gambar ni saya kurang pasti it serves for what for this particular process control. Probably it involved with the processing of the product. Okay, alright. So now for process control, okay, kita start daripada receiving raw material. So bila kita dah receive raw material, QA/QC approve the quality, the specification of the raw material, okay, dan letak dekat warehouse. So bila dia dekat warehouse, production nak pakai the raw material, they will request to the warehouse. Warehouse akan keluarkan raw material tu, hantar ke bahagian production area. Okay, so now kita akan starting dengan production of product. Okay, controlling the quality of the ongoing production of food can be done by either by inspection. Inspection ni sama ada secara physical inspection ataupun chemical inspection ataupun microbiological inspection. Okay, and in terms of the result of that inspection, whether the product can be acceptable or it needs to be rejected. Okay, remember I mentioned to you kita ada tiga, sebenarnya ada tiga it's not only accept dengan reject, kita ada the third one, the third one apa dia? Accept, reject, yang tengah-tengah tu sebelum sama ada nak accept ataupun reject apa dia?
KIV.
Ha?
Action spec.
Action.
Action. Okay lah, betul lah action. Okay. So action tu apa? Selalunya dekat dalam industri. Okay, you all ikutlah dalam lecture notes tapi yang ni saya bagi tahu practices dekat industri. So the action that normally that we did was, the term kita pakai dekat industri adalah on hold. I hope you remember. Okay. So that is our action lah. Kita on hold dulu produk tu ataupun raw material. On hold tu sebab we are waiting for the result, sama ada nak accept ataupun reject that particular product. So kalau you refer balik dekat your previous slide, if that raw material constantly kena on hold, so it takes our time, it takes our resources. Okay. When we talk about resources, it's not only time, it is the manpower, it is the energy, it is the place untuk kita, ruang untuk kita nak letak the on hold product tu. So if it is constantly kena on hold, of course there must be some problem. Okay. So itu action lah Okay, so ada 3, accept, action ataupun reject. Tapi dekat dalam industri, action ni kita panggil sebagai on hold. Okay, on hold tu kita tengah tunggu decision sama ada nak accept ataupun reject. Tapi tak boleh lama-lama on hold ni. Okay, mesti kena ada result. Alright, and then for process control, constantly examine input and output as well as a refine process. Okay, from time to time kita kena sentiasa check for the product itself, the output, and then if let's say we find areas that we can improve, then we need to refine that particular process or that particular area. Okay, so if let's say the product is being rejected, the product tu it can be finished product ataupun raw material, tapi now we are talking about process control. Process control tu maksudnya dekat dalam production floor lah Okay, yang ini saya akan explain dekat you all, so it takes a bit time sikit. Okay, typical option when product fail inspection, the first one is rework. Rework tu maksudnya kita kena buat semula produk tu. Okay, so when we talk about rework, it involve with high cost. Okay, apa yang boleh buat rework? Katalah your product is bread contoh. I bagi bread dulu. Bread bila dah already baked, can you can you put back the bread into dough punya stage? Can you do that?
No.
No.
So maksudnya yang itu tak boleh rework. Tapi apa yang boleh rework? Contohnya something that can be changed. For example, the cream. Katalah dalam bread tu ada cream. So the cream tu bila kita check, kita test in terms of the degree bricks ke, in terms of the taste ke, in terms of the appearance, tak sama macam the specification as well as the standard that we normally have. So apa yang kita kena buat? Kita kena buat rework. Rework tu maksudnya probably you nak tambah sugar syrup ke, you nak tambah coklat ke contoh dekat dalam tu, and you need to mix again. So yang itu rework. Rework it involve with starting the product, you need to go back to the starting point of the production. Itu rework. Rework high cost sebab it takes the resources. Resources I mentioned just now, it involve with the manpower, the time as well as tempat placement yang kita nak buat tu. When we talk about industry, time is money. Manpower is money. So bila kita kena buat semula, maksudnya kita dah buang masa dekat situ, whereby kalau kita buat the first time tu dah correct, kita boleh terus keluarkan finished product. Tapi when we need to do rework, maksudnya produk tadi kita tak boleh keluarkan untuk jual. Kita kena buat semula. Okay. And then another one, contoh when you already mix the meat product untuk buat sausage, contoh nak buat sausage. So bila kita nak masukkan ke dalam casing untuk sausage tu, tengok the structure is not fine enough. It's still coarse, masih kasar. So apa yang kita kena buat? Okay, hantar balik dekat bahagian mixing ataupun mincing untuk refine the process. baru boleh masuk ke dalam casing untuk sausage. You all tahu kan nak buat sausage tu kita ada, the company they have their own casing in order to get the shape of that particular sausage. Okay, and then scrap ni maksudnya buang. Okay, macam tadilah roti tu contoh dah bake, lepas tu katalah the colour of the outside darker compared to the specification that we have in terms of the colour the appearance. Maksudnya dekat luar tu is the first thing that is being noticed by the customer and consumer. So in terms of the appearance is very important as well. So katalah the colour is darker. Okay, so kalau company yang ada a very strict quality control, when the colour, contoh the colour of the product, tak kisahlah bread product ke, meat product ke, chicken nugget ke, you talk about potato chips ke, instant noodle ke, those finished product, termasuklah dengan milk powder and etc. So if let's say the colour is not according to the specification, okay, when we have specification, okay, untuk colour ni contoh I bagi dekat you all, colour ni kita ada, basically kita akan ada 3 colours. Colour yang normal colour yang kita selalu produce the product, colour that's supposed to be slightly lighter, terang sikit, kita kena ada tolerance lah. Kalau you remember chapter 1 kita kena ada tolerance Colour supposed to be slightly lighter, colour that's supposed is slightly darker. So these 3 supposed to be acceptable. Tapi if the colour goes beyond that than this standard yang kita ada, sama ada slightly darker ataupun slightly lighter, we should not accept the product that we produce. So kalau company yang ada QA QC yang strict, if let's say the colour is darker compared to the standard yang kita dah ada tu, so what they will do is dia orang akan buang the product. Walaupun when we open up the product, it is as normal, cuma bahagian luar je gelap compared to kita punya standard, kita takkan jual Yang itu untuk company yang ada strict QA/QC. Tapi kalau produk tu memang dah warna hitam, keluar pun warna hitam macam mana you nak bezakan kan? So depends on your industry. Okay, contoh macam kicap. Macam mana you nak tahu the colour tu, probably you want to use chromometer contoh Sebab kalau guna your naked eyes, your bare eyes, kadang-kadang kita tak boleh nak beza warna tu. So that's why untuk you all punya QA/QC ni sepatutnya lab you all kena guna yang chromometer tu nak check colour by using equipment instrument. Okay, tapi tak apalah, this one dalam lecture pun boleh kot. Okay, so scrap ni maksud kita buang. Okay, kita buang. So kita takkan jual. Okay, and then you have another level whereby this one goes for SME. They are not having a strict maintenance for their QA/QC. So contoh macam tadi I bagi tahu produk tu gelap daripada standard yang kita boleh pakai, dia jual juga. Okay, contohnya macam bahulu tu, burn sikit dekat bahagian luar tu, dia jual juga. Nanti dia kata tak apa, kering sikit je, yang lain semua okey. Okay, so they sell it anyway by having at the same price contohnya, so it will upset the customer. Kita beli tapi that's it lah, that's the first and last kita beli. Okay, and of course this one it also involved with reputation. So kenapa kalau you go for big industry ni, they have their own standardization as well as specification sebab nak maintain reputation. Reputation also equal to money. Sebab reputation is the branding. If kita constantly jaga quality of kita punya finished product, of course we will have a good reputation, we will have a good confidence to the customer and consumer. So it will be turned out to become profit. Okay, so that's why reputation ni memang benda yang paling penting lah kena jaga untuk satu company tu. As much as possible, they all tak nak ada isu dengan customer consumer. Okay, kenapa ada isu? Nanti yang ini later dekat dalam chapter ni I akan explain in terms of product recall as well as customer complaint. Okay, downgraded tu maksudnya they all nak jual. Contoh katalah size tu kecil sikit daripada yang biasa, tapi jual juga. tapi at discounted price. Orang Malaysia ni dia sukalah diskaun-diskaun ni kan, tapi actually it is not good for long term. Okay, at discounted price, so kita ada untuk customer consumer dia suka, tapi for the long term we will expect a poor reputation as well, and then customer dia rasa macam tak confident because you are not producing a consistent quality of product. Okay. Alright, then kita continue dengan controlling product formulation. Okay, product formulation, it really depends on the company that you are going to join later. Masa saya intern, when I did my internship, the formulation is not something that I can easily assess. Okay, it is being controlled by the R&D, all the formulation untuk produce product. Tapi when I join the industry, when I work in one of the industry, the product formulation is easily assessed by related department. Bukan semua orang lah, related department. Okay. So memang masa tu I pun macam quite shocking jugalah. I boleh dapat this formulation easily, and if let's say no one is looking, no one is checking, no one is watching me, I can bring out the formulation out from my factory compound, and I pun boleh buat juga I punya kilang sendiri using the existing formulation. Tapi of course it goes back to the integrity lah. Kita ada rasa macam somebody is watching, but not really somebody lah, is atas lah yang tengok kita kan. Okay, so when we have this product formulation, so written documentation of the formula or recipe should exist and be available for use by selected individuals, as well as the department. Okay, when we have documentation untuk product formulation, certain individu memang kena ada this product formulation. Sebab apa? If let's say there is something wrong during the mixing process, kita boleh identify which raw material yang dia all silap masuk, and when this raw material dah terlebih masuk ke ataupun terkurang masuk ke, what will be our corrective action in order to do the rework for this particular batch of product. As much as possible kita akan cuba selamatkan juga this particular batch. Tapi kalau tak boleh selamatkan tu, then that one tak boleh nak buat apalah. Alright. And then untuk production people pun, there are some individual memang kita akan pass around this particular formulation, tapi at to certain extent. Contohnya, if let's say that particular worker, his duty is to weigh, untuk timbang raw material. So raw material untuk produk apa, kita akan bagi dia access to that particular berat dengan raw material apa for that particular product. Tapi in terms of processing, kita tak bagi dekat dia. Sebab kita nak control this product formulation. And dekat bahagian mixing, they all tak tahu berapa berat untuk setiap produk tu. Setiap ingredient tu dia all tak tahu berat, tapi dia all kena tahu sequence untuk nak masukkan raw material. When we mix the product, of course there will be sequence. Kena ada ikut turutan kita nak mix ingredient tu macam mana. Okay, so untuk bahagian mixer contohnya, they need to know what will be the sequence of the raw material that they need to mix, and then lepas tu mixing process. Berapa lama nak mix, temperature kena maintain at which temperature. Okay, and then after dah habis mix, nak kena transfer ke mana. So this particular part untuk mixing process kita akan bagi dekat bahagian tu saja. Okay, untuk orang dekat bahagian production, untuk nak bake ke ataupun nak cook ke, nak masak ke, then yang itu kita akan bagi sampai setakat yang mana it will cover for their area. Okay, so itulah I ada masa I kerja lah, I adalah sembang dengan my colleague. I kata sebenarnya kalau in my workplace back then, our foreigner, the worker mainly a foreigner and they are from Nepal. I cakap dekat my colleague, kalau orang Nepal ni dia bijak, sebenarnya they should combine each area tu, they can combine je semua dokumen yang dia all ada tu, dia all dah boleh set up kilang dah dekat Nepal. Tapi of course lah, we monitor lah siapa yang pegang that particular documentation. Alright. So I hope I explain to you relating to this part. Okay, so it should be available. Tapi of course R&D, R&D, when we talk about R&D ni, normally it will be for level kita ada executive, bawah executive kita ada assistant. So assistant, executive, manager and above, memang kita boleh ada full formulation termasuk dengan the processes to produce the product. Kita ada full, kita boleh assess untuk semua produk. Tapi untuk orang bawahan, I mean for the worker, general worker, kita tak bagi semualah, kita tak bagi full access. Okay, so the formula should be used daily as a mean to assure consistency. So kenapa kita bagi dia all? Sebab kita nak make sure consistency. Consistency between batches, lots and even days of production. Okay, batches. If you join big food industry, when we talk about batches, kadang-kadang tu satu produk kita akan produce dalam contoh 20 batch. Setiap batch kita akan produce katalah 5,000. So 5,000 pieces of product kali dengan 20 batches. So berapa puluh ribu satu hari kita akan produce. So that's why we must make sure that between one batch to another batch for the same product, it must be consistent. Okay, and then when we talk about lots contohnya dari segi from one product, from one line to another line. Although they are producing the same product, tapi one line to another line, maybe they are producing slightly different quality. So yang tu pun kena take care in terms of days of production. Ada hari, contoh kat Malaysia ni kita punya season is only summer and musim hujan. So ada hari yang sangat panas dekat luar. So if let's say it's a very hot outside, of course it will affect inside of the production floor. So when it is hot, what will be some changes that we need to do for this particular production, for this particular product? If it is too rainy, kalau kat luar hujan, so it's become very humid, sangat basah humid dekat luar, kat dalam pun humid. So what will be the changes that we need to do in order for us to maintain the consistency? So jangan ingat macam bila kita dah ada satu formulation tu, okay kita akan ikut je that particular formulation tu 100%. No, sometimes memang kita akan ada slightly changes in terms of the water content ke, in terms of some of the ingredients, sebab kita kena tengok juga in terms of the temperature, in terms of level of humidity, in terms of bila kita mix tu, produk tu tak jadi yang macam hari sebelumnya. So what will be the action that we need to do? Okay, so manufacturing personnel need to know the recipe to ensure that product is formulated correctly. Okay, contoh macam yang timbang tadi, kena bagi tahulah dekat dia nak kena timbang untuk produk tepung ni berapa gram dia kena timbang. Garam berapa gram. Milk powder kena timbang berapa gram. Shortening kena timbang berapa gram. Ataupun butter kena timbang berapa gram. Cheese nak masuk berapa. Chocolate nak kena masuk berapa. Sugar, syrup and etc. Okay, so for highly confidential formula, the production worker does not need to know all the details. Yang macam tadilah kita akan control part by part. Alright, then we go for manufacturing procedure. Processing procedure to ease duplication from lot to lot, shift to shift as well as day to day must be documented. Yang ini apa maksud dia? Ingat tadi contoh macam saya bagi bahagian orang yang kena timbang tu. The person that need to weigh the ingredient. When they weigh the ingredient, they need to make sure that there is one of their supervisor kena check. Dia timbang, contoh tepung tadi, betul tak ikut formulation yang ada tu. Of course, when we talk about list of ingredients, when we talk about weighing the ingredients contohnya, kena ada plus minus, kena ada tolerance. Tak boleh spesifik kita nak contoh tepung tu kena berat dia kena 20.5 kg. So kita nak ngam-ngam 20.5 kg, tak boleh. Maybe sometimes it can goes up to 20.3 kg ke 20.7 kg ke, that one is still acceptable. Okay. So ada supervisor yang akan check, okay, dia timbang tu betul tak. Alright, and then during mixing tu kena ada orang juga yang check. Tapi biasanya QA/QC lah sebenarnya akan check, okay. QA/QC dia akan check betul ataupun tidak the mixing process tu ikut sequence. Remember tadi ingredient kita kena masukkan ikut sequence. Okay, betul tak ikut sequence, and then mixing tu berapa lama, berapa minit, temperature berapa, semua tu kita akan record. Sebab bila kita record, okay, nanti katakanlah there's something happen. Lepas dah mixing tu, tiba-tiba masuk dekat bahagian depan, melekat pula dekat dekat equipment. So what went wrong? Kita boleh trace balik. Apa yang beza tadi? Mungkin air tadi terlebih. Jadi dough tu become very sticky. So that's why melekat dekat dalam equipment tu. So apa nak kena buat? Okay. Alright, so key steps in the process which can impact upon yield, quality and production must be highlighted. Okay, this one I dah bagi tahu juga tadi in terms of time, temperature, weight, berat, equipment required. Okay, contohnya kita perlukan mixer ke, kita perlukan contoh macam pisau ke untuk nak potong deduh tu. Okay. Mixing ke, molder ke, nak bentukkan, contoh kita nak shapekan macam nugget tu kan. Nugget kan ada certain shape. Bukan potato chips tak ada shape. They just slice the potato chips. Okay, those yang ada shape tu they need to have their own specific molder. Right? And then order of addition for the ingredients. Okay, order of addition for ingredients ni, ingat tak tadi saya bagi tahu production nak pakai raw material. So dia akan order kepada warehouse. Warehouse yang akan keluarkan raw material tu berapa banyak yang production order. Contoh production nak pakai 100 kg tepung. So dia akan order dekat warehouse, dia nak pakai 100 kg wheat flour. So warehouse dia all akan keluarkan 100 kg of wheat flour. Dia tak akan bagi lebih, dia tak akan bagi kurang. Okay, that's the procedure. Alright. So bila dia hantar kepada production, production kena record dia terima 100 kg of wheat flour. Okay. So dia ada proses lah dekat situ. Alright, and then kita ada log. Log ni again is about documentation. When we talk about HACCP, when we talk about GMP, ISO, semua is about documentation. Sebab documentation ni penting untuk kita nak trace balik during the processing. Memanglah kalau you pergi kepada industri, most of the days the production will run as per normal. Okay, kadang-kadang tu memang tak ada masalah. Memang bila you masuk industri tu, ya Allah, you memang doa sangat tak ada big issues dekat dalam production floor. So ada hari memang everything run smoothly, you tak receive call from your assistant, you tak ada kena berdebat dengan department lain ke apa. Memang some of the days is very quiet and very smooth. Tapi most of the days you kerja, nanti you kerja you tahulah. Okay, so manufacturing log in terms of in-process record is a way to obtain the information for the product as well as processes during manufacturing. Yang ini adalah untuk information semua department yang terlibat production of the product. So for QC, QA/QC, okay, saya selalu cakap QA/QC. I'm not going to talk only about QC sebab QC ni is a small part of checking the product itself. Tapi siapa yang design and siapa yang identify what will be the parameter that QC kena check, that will be QA. So selalunya QA/QC it goes under the same department lah. So QA/QC as well as production personnel should participate in maintaining a daily manufacture log. Okay, contohnya macam specific product weight, temperature, size and shape, ingredient usage, product yield, scrap or waste, material balance as well as rework. Okay, ini nak bagi tahu dekat you all, tapi I tak tahulah other class they will receive the same information ataupun tak. Alright, remember I mentioned the owner of the formulation is R&D, but the owner of the product is production people. Okay, production department. QA/QC tugasnya apa? Tugas kita QA/QC adalah is to help these departments, okay, QA/QC, production as well as R&D to produce the finished product quality that we expect. Okay, kita membantu. We are helping to check. We are helping to assist. Okay, tapi eventually kalau untuk production, when we are producing the product, the owner of the product will goes back to the production department. Jadi, for the department that is responsibility to record the data involving all the batches of the product. Remember just now I bagi tahu dekat you, satu product, the same product kita ada 20 batches. So semua batch dalam 20 batches tu, it needs to be recorded by who? It needs to be recorded by production. QA, QC kita pun ada kita punya record juga. Kita akan record contohnya in the starting of the batch. Contoh tadi kita ada 20 batch kan. So 20 batch tu kita ada first batch. Okay, so QA, QC biasanya kita akan check first batch. First batch yang keluar, yang first run tu kita akan check that one. And then in the middle, so katalah ada 20 batch tadi, batch yang ke-10. Batch yang ke-10 kita akan check lagi sekali. And then batch yang ke-20, yang last. Tapi untuk semua 20 batch ni, siapa yang kena record? Production. They need to record every single batches. Sebab if let's say batch nombor 3 ada problem, QA, QC we don't have the data sebab kita hanya check tadi, remember beginning, middle, ending of the batch. Alright, so batch ketiga ada problem. So mana kita nak dapatkan data? What went wrong during the production? Kita akan check balik kepada production personnel. Okay. So they all ada semua data. Alright, and then in terms of size and shape, yang ni semua production yang kena check. Kita QA, QC, kita assist. Kalau kita nampak contoh produk tu smaller compared to the normal one. Tapi QA, QC, production they all pack juga. That is wrong. So that's why kita QA, QC, we not act like a police. We are not a police dekat dalam production floor tu. Bukan kita kerja kita nak saman orang ke tak. Kita kena make sure that every worker, every personnel, every staff yang involved dalam production tu, they know what will be a set of quality that we want to achieve. So kalau produk tu a bit smaller compared to the normal one, so jangan pack lah. That one needs to be reject. Kena keluarkan. Okay. Alright, so manufacturing log can be done manually or automatically. So it depends. Contoh macam tadi berat. Berat tadi untuk QA, QC kita akan check manually. Contohnya we will collect a few samples daripada conveyor belt yang bergerak tu. So kita akan ambil a few and then kita akan pergi kepada weighing balance, analytical balance, kita akan timbang. Timbang dan kita akan record. Okay, contoh you need to take 20 samples, so kita akan record 20. Tapi untuk production, they have their own automatic check weigher. Okay, check weigher tu is whereby when the product pass through this conveyor tu dia memang ada penimbang dekat bawah dia. So bila produk tu lalu dekat check weigher ni, katalah produk tu kurang berat daripada standard dan specification. So dia akan ditendang keluar. Okay, produk tu akan ditendang keluar sama ada guna angin ataupun flap. Conveyor tu dia akan buka dan produk tu akan jatuh ke bawah. Okay, itu adalah check weigher, automatic. Sebab production ni kita bukannya buat produk tu 10 biji produk, tak. Kita buat 20,000, 30,000, yang tu very common. So conveyor tu jalan laju. So tak sempat kita nak check satu-satu manually. So it can be automatically. Okay, and of course check weigher tu pun QA, QC kita kena check. In terms of calibration, ada calibrate ataupun tak. And then sebelum nak starting tu kita test dulu. Kalau kata kita dah check sepatutnya produk berat dia kurang daripada 10 gram. Contoh kena reject. So bila kita lalukan produk yang kurang daripada 10 gram, flap tu buka ataupun ditendang keluar ataupun tak. Okay, sebab itu kita nak check in terms of the the check weigher itself, the integrity of the check weigher, boleh pakai ke tak boleh pakai. Alright, so manufacturing log normally monitor changes in a CCP, critical control point. Okay, this one very important lah. Critical control point, again, I mentioned it always associated with temperature and time. Okay, so untuk produk yang passing through CCP area, it is very important for us to have a detailed data for that particular area. Okay. Contoh macam produk tu kena masuk dalam oven. Oven tu ada 5 area. Area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So staff tu dia kena check area 1 mungkin setiap 5 minit ataupun setiap 10 minit dia kena check area 1 temperature berapa, area 2 temperature berapa, area 5 temperature berapa dan patah balik, check balik, record lagi sekali area 1 berapa, area 2 sebab kita nak make sure the temperature is consistent. Okay, so CCP in processing simply related to those processing step that influence yield or inferior product. Okay, so this one contoh untuk manufacturing log. Yang ni yang saya bagi tahulah. Okay, temperature untuk bahagian mana. Sepatutnya kena ada kolom lagi satu dekat bahagian mana. Ataupun untuk chilling process. Lepas produk tu dah siap kena masuk dalam chiller. So kena check jugalah temperature chiller tu berapa. Okay, then after half an hour check lagi sekali temperature dia berapa. Sebab kita nak make sure the chiller work efficiently. Alright, so should I take a break 5 minutes dulu?
Boleh je, madam.
Boleh je.
Okay, kita take a
Boleh,
break dulu
madam.
Boleh, madam.
5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes So kita sambung balik
Okay.
pukul 11.07. Alright?
Baik, madam.
Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Baik, madam.